salivary secretions, types of salivary glands, the salivary compositions, the functions of the saliva, and the control of secretions. Okay, so you just see the slides. So there are different types of salivary glands. I have already discussed. According to their secretion, they are classified as the serous salivary gland. Second one is your mucous salivary gland. Third one is your mixed type of salivary glands. Okay. And also another classification is also there. That is, one is your major type of salivary glands and minor salivary glands. These major salivary glands are generally 3 in numbers, pair of parotids, submandibular and or submaxillary salivary glands, and third one is your sublingual salivary glands. Whereas there are numerous minor salivary glands are scattered throughout the oral cavity. Okay, but in case of this major salivary glands, they are secreting their secretion means they secrete the saliva through their respective duct. Okay, so generally classified, you can say this major and minor salivary glands are also known as, this major are extrinsic salivary glands, is because they are outside the oral cavity, means parotid means the below the ear. So they have to secrete their secretion through their respective ducts. I am repeatedly telling, they are secreting their secretions, that is saliva, through their respective ducts. So they are generally classified as the extrinsic part, extrinsic salivary glands. Whereas the minor salivary glands, they are known as the intrinsic salivary glands, means they are present inside the oral cavity. Okay, and 90% generally the salivary secretions are from the major salivary glands, that is from the parotid salivary glands, whereas the minor salivary glands, they secrete the saliva, but they are very rich in mucus. Okay, so there are so many minor salivary glands that, like your anterior lingual glands, also known as Blandine and Nunn, posterior lingual gland, that is your von Ebner's gland, glossopalatine gland, buccal glands. Buccal means they are in the cheek region. Labial means they are in the lips region. Okay, so there are so many minor salivary glands are there. Just a minute. And you can see in the submandibular, sublingual salivary gland, according to their secretion, they are classified as the serous salivary glands. Second one is your mucous salivary glands. Third one is your mixed type of salivary glands. Serous salivary glands means they are secreting the watery secretions, whereas the mucous salivary glands means, as the name indicates, mucus. That means they are having the presence of the mucin. Okay, so that's why, yeah, you can say the secretion from the mucous type of salivary glands are very thick in nature, sticky in nature, due to the presence of this mucin. Okay, but in case of the mixed type of salivary glands, that is generally the examples of the mixed type of salivary glands are submandibular and sublingual salivary glands. Okay, so they are having the both the secretion, means they are secreting the watery secretion as well as they are also contain the mucus, yeah, having the higher concentration of the mucin. But submandibular glands are generally predominantly gas in nature. Submandibular glands are
serous in nature.
Yes. And sublingual salivary glands are predominantly, these are mixed gland, but predominantly they are sublingual salivary glands are mucus. Yes. So according to the secretion, you can classify it as the serous, mucus, and the mixed salivary glands. And also, you have to remember, in the mixed glands, there is presence of means serous part or as well as the mucous parts are present. The serous part is generally present, yeah, located at the peripheral region, and they are generally somewhat flattened in structure. The serous part, again I'm telling, in mixed gland, the both the parts are present, that is serous part as well as the mucous parts are present, but the serous parts are generally located at the peripheral region and they are somewhat flattened in structure. And it is generally known as serous demilune. So you can write, in mixed salivary gland, the serous gland The serous part is known as the serous demilune. Demilune. So what is serous demilune? What is serous demilune? What is serous demilune?
The
So you just see.
salivary gland.
Yes, suppose this is a one type of mixed type of, suppose it is a general structure of a salivary gland, and these are the what we discussed in the last. The structural and the functional unit of the salivary gland is the salivum having the numerous acinous cells. So each singular form is your acinar, and the plural is your acinine. These are the acinine. Groups of acinous cells are arranged. Okay, followed by the different generation of the ducts. Okay, so you can see these mixed type of salivary gland, the mucous cells are present as well as the serous part is also present. But the serous cells are somewhat flattened in structure and they are present at the peripheral region, periphery. So that is known as the serous demilune part. This is a peculiar structure of a salivary gland, showing the numerous acinous cells followed by the duct. These acinous cells are secreting the saliva. The primary secretions from the acinous cells are hypotonic in nature, and above these acinous cells there is presence of a dash cells. Above the acinous cells there is presence of a dash cells.
myoepithelial cells.
Yes, myoepithelial cells are also known as basket cells. Myoepithelial cells are very good, also known as the basket cells. So these contraction of the myoepithelial cells present over the acinous cells help in the squeezing of the saliva, and then saliva, you can see the dark the central portion, this is the lumen part, and this is a structure of one acinous cell. The arrow marks indicating it is a structure of one acinous cell. So there are number of acinous cells are there. Okay, followed by the this
Excuse
is
me,
the yes.
ma'am. One student is asking to join from last 10 minutes.
No, I will not allow him. Okay. So listen to me. Listen to me. So one is your acinous cells, and there are number of acinous cells are arranged, and in the center there is presence of the lumen part. Okay. So the acinous cells, they are secreting the saliva. They are secreting the saliva, and the saliva has to be mixed to the lumen, and from the lumen it has to follow the tract, the path. The different generation of duct systems are there. Already discussed. Dash generation of ducts are present in the salivary glands. Already
Four.
Four.
So can you tell me?
Intercalated, striated, excretory, main duct.
Yes, very good. Intercalated, followed by the striated. Then third one is your excretory, and final one is your main collecting duct. You just see this one, the ducts of major salivary glands. Generally, the parotid, they are having the main salivary duct is which draining the saliva to the oral cavity is your Stensen's duct. In case of the human being, submandibular, they are having the Wharton's duct. Sublingual, they are having the Bartholin's duct. Okay. So what will happen? After the secretion, so you just see in this slide also, this is a structure of one acinous cell, acinous cells. This is the lumen, followed by the different generation of the ducts. Finally, the saliva has to be poured into the oral cavity. Okay, so these acinous cells are the structural and the functional unit of the salivary gland, which help in the secretion of the saliva. Then saliva has to be passed through the different generation of the duct. So different generation of duct means intercalated. So these are one and ductal epithelial cells. So these are ductal epithelial cells. Clear? So while passing through these different generation of duct, mainly in the striated duct, there are some modifications are there. So what are the modifications are actually going inside the ductal epithelial cells of the striated duct?
Reabsorption of sodium and chloride.
Sodium and
Yes,
chloride.
very good. Who is telling the answer? You just tell me your name.
Shraddhanjali Panda.
Yes. Only C is answering. Out of 87 or 88 students, only C is answering. What will be the modification actually going inside the ductal epithelial cells of the striated duct?
Sodium and chloride reabsorbed.
Who is telling?
Chinmay.
Tell me your name. Very
Chinmay.
good.
Chinmay
So
Kumar Kunti.
sodium and okay, very good. Excellent. So sodium during the passing, initially the secretion of the saliva, which is secreting from the acinar, is dash in nature. Is dash in nature.
Isotonic.
Isotonic. They are having, yes, they are having the sodium, potassium, chloride, bicarbonate ion is similar concentration is compared to that of the blood plasma. Okay, but while passing through the different generation of the some modification, I have several times I have discussed the sodium and chloride ion has been reabsorbed, and instead of the sodium and chloride, potassium and bicarbonate ion trying to secrete into the cells. So finally, you are getting the saliva is very rich in dash, sodium, chloride, potassium, bicarbonate ion. Multiple
Potassium
potassium and bicarbonate salts, yes. And meanwhile, the water is impermeable to these ductal epithelial cells. Yeah, the water can be absorbed. Impermeable. So this means tonicity of the saliva depends on the dash of the saliva. The tonicity of the saliva.
Flow rate of saliva.
Yes. So when there be the flow rate of saliva is very fast, the tonicity is
Isotonic.
yes, very good. Yes. Very good. So sodium chloride, so final collection of the saliva in the oral cavity, they are containing the higher concentration of the potassium and bicarbonate ions is compared to that of the sodium and chloride ions. Okay. So then we have discussed about the compositions. Composition, they are having the different parts or solid components are 99.5% are having the water, and 0.5% are the having solid components. And among these, they are having the electrolytes, sodium, potassium, chloride, bicarbonate, phosphate ions, etc. Whereas they are also contain, the saliva contains the different enzymes which are helpful for the digestion of the you can say the saliva generally contains the salivary amylase, or it is known as the ptyalin, which is helpful for the digestion of the starch. Also, some little bit secretion of the lingual lipase is also there in the secretion, in the composition, which is helpful for the digestion of the lipid, digestion of the fat. So these lingual lipase are secreted from the von Ebner's gland, helpful for the digestion of the lipid. Okay. Besides this, they also contain the antibacterial substances. Already discussed about this antibacterial substances like your lysozyme. They also having the bactericidal effect, means direct killing the microorganisms, maybe bacteria, maybe virus, any microorganisms. If it will be found in the oral cavity and the secretion, then it will be finally get rid of these microorganisms due to the presence of this specific lysozyme, antibacterial and having the bactericidal effect by the thiocyanate ion. Also, they having the lactoferrin, which is having the main function of the lactoferrin is also to chelate the iron. And as you know, the iron is very much essential for the growth and the multiplication of the microorganisms. So, lactoferrin, it will help for the chelating the iron component, so that the iron cannot be available to the microorganisms. So in the absence of this iron, the microorganisms, the bacteria cannot multiply or cannot grow. Okay, so having different functions, also having the different composition, having the histatin, having the histatin, they are having the antifungal activity. Histatins are also there. They are having the antifungal activity. They also secrete the kallikrein. Kallikrein also the one important composition of the saliva, which is required for the, means what will happen when parasympathetic, as you know, the glands are supplied by both the sympathetic nervous system as well as the parasympathetic nervous system. So what will happen when there will be suppose you just think, if a gland is supplied with a rich supply of the blood vessels getting the proper nutrients, then the gland also stimulate for the secretion of the more and more amount of saliva. So what will happen in the presence of this parasympathetic stimulations, you can say when the parasympathetic nervous systems are stimulated, at that time the kallikrein, they are act on the plasma protein that is known as the kininogen to form a bradykinin, that is acts as a vasodilator. Bradykinin acts as a vasodilator. So it is also one important composition found in the saliva. Which one is? That is the kallikrein. Okay, kallikrein is an important component, a composition of the saliva, which acts on the plasma protein kininogen to form the bradykinin, and this bradykinin is helpful for the vasodilation. And once the blood vessel will be dilated, means more and more amount of blood supplied to the salivary gland. Okay, so as you know, the regulation part, composition I am not going to discuss. There are so many functions are all you must having the idea of the function of the saliva. They are helpful for the speech, they are helpful for the formation of the bolus, they are having the maintain the oral hygienic oral hygiene, etc., etc. Then comes to the neural regulation part that I want to show you. Neural regulations, sympathetic and parasympathetic. This one all about the function, that is having the antibacterial activity, antiviral, antifungal. The histatines mostly act as the antifungal activity, help in the process of lubrication, the mucin, the statherins, histatines, cystatins, proline resistant proteins, they are present in the saliva, and these mucins are the helpful for the lubrication process and help in the formation of the bolus. Okay, main thing I want to show you, that is your this one, the salivary regulations, the regulation of the salivary glands. As I have discussed, the salivary glands are supplied by the sympathetic as well as the parasympathetic innervations. Sympathetic and parasympathetic innervation. So when the parasympathetic innervation will be stimulated, at that time there will be profuse amount of, a huge amount of secretion of the saliva, and they are having the watery secretions are there. Okay, so when parasympathetic innervation will be there, and when the parasympathetic nervous system will be stimulated, then the gland will secrete the more and more amount of saliva. One, you can say the glands are supplied by the sympathetic and parasympathetic. So direct effect of the parasympathetic is to secrete the huge amount of saliva, and indirect effect is on the blood vessels. That is, under the influence of this parasympathetic, there will be secretion of the bradykinin, which mostly act as a vasodilator. So it will be helpful for the dilation of the blood vessels. If the gland will be supplied with the more and more amount of blood and nutrient, then the gland will automatically also stimulating for the production of the saliva. So it is having the direct effect over the salivary glands and also having the indirect effect. Direct effect means directly stimulating the gland for the secretion of the saliva, means huge amount of saliva will be secreted when the parasympathetic innervation will be there. Okay, and indirect effect is through the blood vessels, means under the influence of the bradykinin. This bradykinin is a important vasodilator and which is helpful for the dilation of the blood vessels, and so the gland is supplied with a more and more amount of blood along with the nutrients. So indirectly the gland will be stimulated to produce the saliva. But the sympathetic, when the sympathetic nervous system will come into action, then what will happen? Parasympathetic causes the huge amount of secretion. So definitely it is the reverse effect of the sympathetic. So what will happen? When sympathetic nervous system will be there will be less amount of salivary secretion will be there. Remember, parasympathetic, more amount of saliva, sympathetic, less amount of salivary secretion will be there, but they are highly rich in mucin. Again, I am telling, sympathetic nervous system will stimulating the gland, but they will be producing less amount of saliva with more amount of mucin. Yeah, mucus you can say. Okay, but when parasympathetic innervation to the gland will be there, then the gland will be stimulated to produce the huge amount of watery secretion will be there. Means more amount of secretion will be there. My voice is audible?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so parasympathetic innervations, more amount of saliva. Sympathetic innervation stimulation, if there will be there, then it will stimulate the gland, but there will be less secretion of the saliva, but they are highly rich in mucus. Clear? Then the thing is how these nervous systems are supplied to the nerve supplied to the salivary gland. So parasympathetic fibers to the submandibular, sublingual glands are, there are presence of some salivatory nucleus in the pons. Okay, one is your superior salivatory nucleus and another one is your inferior salivatory nucleus. So through the facial nerve, superior salivatory nucleus, which is situated in the pons region, it will innervating the submaxillary ganglia. Then submaxillary ganglion, the postganglionic fiber will be supplied to the submandibular or sublingual glands. Okay, so which is arising from the parasympathetic fiber supplied to the submandibular sublingual glands. That will be origination is your superior salivatory nucleus. Remember, parasympathetic fiber supplied to the submandibular and sublingual salivary gland is the origination is your superior salivatory nucleus. Okay, whereas the parasympathetic fiber supplied to the parotid glands, their origination is inferior salivatory nucleus. Okay, and they have to be and in the means they are having the preganglionic fiber and the postganglionic fiber. The postganglionic fibers are originating from the otic ganglion. Okay, in case of submandibular, that is the having the submaxillary ganglion. Okay, so you have to remember the parasympathetic fiber supplied to the parotid glands, the origination is inferior salivatory nucleus, and when it will innervating the salivary gland, there will be watery, huge amount of watery secretion will be there. But when there will be sympathetic nervous system will be come into action, then sympathetic nervous systems supplied to the salivary gland, that will be stimulate the gland for the less amount of secretion of the saliva, but they are highly rich in mucin. Okay, so these are all about the salivary secretion. So let's move to the another chapter, that is your gastric secretion. Clear? Slides are visible? The gastric
Yes, sir.
secretion, the slides are visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So after the completion of the saliva, let us move to the new chapter, that is your gastric secretion. Gastric secretion, as we have discussed in the digestive physiology, that is in monogastric digestion, yeah, digestive physiology. We have to first focus about the different hormones like your gastrointestinal hormones. We have to focus about the different types of secretion from the different glands. Means we have already covered one part, that is your salivary secretion. Then we have to also complete the gastric, the hepatic secretion, pancreatic secretions, as well as the intestinal secretion. After the completion of the secretion, then we have to move to the digestion of the carbohydrate, protein, and lipid in monogastric animals. Clear? So one part has been completed. So gastric secretion, the gastric secretion, as you know, the gastric juice, they are very rich in acid. The gastric secretion means the secretion from the gastric glands. The glands are present in the gastric mucosa, which are helpful for the secretion of the gastric juice, and these gastric juice are highly as having the acidic content, means having the hydrochloric acids. Okay, they are having the water, they are having the hydrochloric acid. That's why the pH is generally 1.5, less than 1.5. Okay, so these gastric secretions, yeah, the gastric juice, they are helpful for the conversion of the gastric contents to a semi-liquid mass called as chyme. Remember, never be confused with the food bolus and the chyme. Food bolus has been once you take the, suppose you have taken the roti or chapati every day, anything, okay, in the breakfast, that has to be first in the oral cavity with the help of the saliva, the help of the mucus, mucins present in the saliva. The proper salivation will be there, proper lubrication will be there, and after the mastication, yeah, thoroughly chewing process is over, then this food has been converted to the bolus. So in the bolus form, it has to be swallowed. Okay, through the esophagus, it has to reach the stomach. Once the food bolus reaches the stomach, thereafter there will be different juice secreted, means gastric juice will be secreted from the different glands are there, and this will be helpful for the conversion of this bolus into a semi-liquid mass, which is known as the chyme. So you have to mention that once the you can say the stomach, what are the different function of the stomach? It will be act as a reservoir, it will be helpful for the digestion. Complete digestion cannot be possible, so partial digestion are carried out inside the stomach. So once the semi digestion process is over, so when the food bolus has been converted to chyme, so the chyme has to, through the relaxation of the pylori sphincter, it has to reach the intestine. Okay, at that time you have to tell that once the chyme enters the duodenum, you cannot say once the food bolus enters the duodenum, because already semi-digestion, the partial digestion has been completed inside the stomach. Now the food bolus has been converted to a chyme. Okay, so you have to mention chyme enters the duodenum, not the food bolus enters the duodenum. Did you get my point? What is
Yes,
chyme and what is
yes, ma'am.
food? So already, but the function of the stomach is to store the food, and it is the semi digestion are carried out inside the stomach due to the secretion of the gastric juice from the different glands are there. I will discuss. Okay, so in this stomach they are having the monogastric animals I am discussing. In monogastric animals, is unlike that of the polygastric animals, they are having the 4 compartments, 4 chambers are there, like rumen, reticulum, omasum, abomasum. Okay, but in case of the monogastric, they are having the single chamber, single stomach, but they are having the 3 parts. You can say they are having the 3 parts. You can see in this slide there is the esophagus. The esophagus, then here is the, it is known as the greater curvature. This part is your greater curvature, and this part is your lesser curvature. Okay, and they are having the different, you can say different parts. These are the fundic part, and this is known as the lower esophageal sphincter. The arrow mark indicates the lower esophageal sphincter, where the sphincter is guiding the means it will control the movement of the food bolus from the esophagus to the stomach. Okay, so it is the lower esophageal sphincter. Here is the cardiac region. This part is your cardiac. This part is your fundic part. This is the body part, here the corpus part. Body is also known as the corpus, and this part is the lower part is your the pylorus, here the antral region. Okay, and here is presence of the another sphincter is there, that is your dash sphincter.
Pyloric.
Pyloric.
Yes, pyloric sphincter. So you are getting the pyloric sphincters are in between the stomach and the proximal part of the small intestine, that is the duodenum. Okay, so pyloric sphincters are so when there will be contraction of this sphincter, it will never allow the chyme to enter into the duodenum. But once the sphincter has been relaxed, the chyme can enter into the duodenum. Okay. Similarly, the lower esophageal sphincters, that will also control the flow of the food bolus from the esophagus to the stomach. Okay, and these microscopic examinations, there you can if you see the yes, in the empty stomach you can see the rugae. This part is known as the rugae. The inner surface are having the folding structure. This is known as the rugae. You can see in the empty stomach. Okay. So, and this gastric mucosa, the stomach, they are having the, if you take the cross sectional, yeah, the histological section, they are having the, they are having the same thing, like your muscular layer, the innermost layer is the serosa layer, है ना?
Outermost.
The mucosa layer, yes, mucosa layer.
Mucosa.
And the innermost layer is the mucosa, then followed by the submucosa, followed by the muscular layer, and last layer is the, means the outer layer is your serosa layer. Hai na? So this gastric mucosa, that they will be having the some, means inner invaginations are there, that is known as the gastric pits, and they are having the gastric glands. So if you see the glands of the means gastric glands, they are generally classified as 2 types. One is your according to Garton and Hall, the gastric glands are classified as, one is your oxantic glands, and second one is your pylori gland. But some books, they are also have the opinion that they are having the cardiac gland according to the position. Suppose the gland is present near the cardiac region, so cardiac gland is there, fundic region is there, and the pylori glands is also there. But according to the textbook of medical physiology by Guyton and Hall, they are clearly mentioning about the glands are classified into 2 types. One is your oxantic glands, and second one is your pylori glands. I will tell one by one. So just see the peculiar structure of a gastric glands, how it will be look like. Okay, so glands are having the long tube-like structure. You can see, and this is the reddish part is what? It is your gastric mucosa. Okay, gastric mucosa. So what I have said, the gastric mucosa, there will be inner invagination will be there. Inner invagination. So this is known as the gastric pit. Inner invagination is your gastric pit. The mucosa, again I am telling, the inner invagination is your gastric pit, and followed by the gastric glands. Okay, so all the secretions, what I've discussed, the gastric juice, which are highly rich in acid content, they also contains the water, they contains the pepsinogen, okay, pepsinogen. So these all the secretion are present in the gastric juice. They are secreted from a particular cells present in a particular gland. Okay, so this is a structure of a gastric gland, and these gastric glands are having the three parts. One is your neck part, one is your body part, and another is your basal part, here the base part. Okay, the glands are classified as one is your oxyntic glands and second one is your pylori glands. Which glands? Now gastric glands are classified into two types. One is your oxyntic, second one is your pylori glands. Okay, and the gastric glands, they are having the three parts. That is, one is your neck part, and second one is your body part, the middle portion. Suppose it is a long tube-like structure. So you can see this is the neck part. This part is your body part, and this one is the lowermost part is your body part. Here the base part. Here the basal part of a gastric gland. And there are number of cells are scattered in this particular part. So neck region, you will get the one type of cell is there, that is known as the MNC, mucous neck cell. And this is a surface epithelial cell. Try to understand, this part is your surface epithelial cell, which is exposed to the gastric mucosa. This part is your gastric pit, means the invagination of the gastric mucosa is the gastric pit. Here is the structure of a gastric gland having number of gastric cells are present, means a number of cells are present. Okay, they are having the surface epithelial cells are, these are the uppermost portion is occupied by the surface epithelial cells. Slides are visible now? Slides are okay, so you just see this part are the arrow mark indicating these are the surface epithelial cells. This part is present the neck region. There is presence of a mucous neck cells. I will tell why I am indicating this is surface epithelium, this is mucous neck cells. These are cells. I will tell one by one. Okay. So there is also presence of some parietal cells. You can see these parietal cells are also known as the oxyntic cell. Oxyntic cells, yeah, parietal cell, the synonyms. Okay, same things. You can say it is oxyntic, yeah, the parietal cells. They also having different cells present in the gland I am discussing. First is your surface epithelial cell. Second one is mucous neck cell. Third one is oxyntic cell. Fourth one is your chief cells. You can see chief cells are near about the basal region of a gastric glands. Chief cells. They are also having the enterochromaffin-like cell, ECL. Okay, enterochromaffin-like cells. Yes. This one. Again, this picture is showing, this is the lumen of the stomach, this is the gastric pit, surface epithelial cell, mucous neck cells. These are the parietal cells and the oxyntic cells. Always remember, whenever a gland is having the oxyntic cells, means they should be having nearby another cell, that is your enterochromaffin-like cell, ECL, capital E, capital C, capital L, enterochromaffin-like cell. Clear? Oxyntic cells means there should be having the enterochromaffin nearby the another cell is there, that is your enterochromaffin-like cells. Third one is your chief cells is there. Besides this, they are also having the endocrine cells. The glands are also having the endocrine cells like your G cell, like your D cell. We have discussed now in the gastrointestinal hormones, the gastrin hormone. You can see these are the cell types found in the gastric glands, and these are the substances secreted from these particular cells. So cells are surface epithelial cell, MNC, mucous neck cell, oxyntic cell, ECL cell, chief cell. Chief cells also known as the peptic cells. Remember, chief cells are also known as the peptic cells. Besides this, what we have discussed? Besides these cells, they are also having the endocrine cells. Endocrine cells mean they should be having the secretion of the hormone. So they are having the two types. So specific two type of cells are there. That is, one is your D cells and second one is your G cells. D cells we have discussed in the gastrointestinal hormone. The somatostatin is the hormone having the 14 number of amino acids and also having the 28 number. Two forms are there. Variants are there. So D14 and D28. Somatostatin. So these are secreted from which cell? These are secreted from the D cells. So D cells are found in which region? D cells are found in the gastric gland. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you all clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, should I repeat? Okay, so this is a structure of what? This is the peculiar structure of a gastric gland. The gland are having the tube-like structure. This is the reddish part. This is the stomach, lumen of the stomach. And nearer to the lumen of the stomach, these you can see these are the surface epithelial cells. Surface epithelial cells. These are the having the glands. They are having the three parts. One is your neck region. Second one is your body part. Third part is your base part. Base part means the lowermost part. Neck part is here. This is presence of the neck part. In the neck part, there is presence of a specific type of cell that is known as the mucous neck cell. Mucous neck cell. Why it is mucous neck cell? Now it is the mucous cell which is present in the neck region of a gland. So that's why the name is mucous neck cell. Besides this, the cells present in a glands are also parietal cell. Or parietal cells also known as the which cell? Parietal cells are also known as auxentic cells.
Auxiliary.
Always remember in a gland where whenever you are getting, suppose I am discussing about a auxentic gland. Auxentic glands mean they having the auxentic cells. And always remember when a gland is having the auxentic cell means nearer to the auxentic cell there should be having a particular cell that is your yes, enterochromaffin like cell. Parietal cell means that they should be having nearby the enterochromaffin like cells. Besides this, they also having the at the lower portion, at the basal part, at the base part of a gland containing the chip cell. Also, chip cells are also known as peptic cells. Chip cells are also known as the peptic cells. What we have discussed now, these are the different types of cells. Besides this, the gland contains different types of endocrine cells are also there, like your D cell, like your G cells. We have discussed in the gastrointestinal hormone, somatostatin, ghrelin, gastrin is a hormone, cholecystokinin is a hormone, secretin, cholecystokinin, pancreogymin, BIP, GIP, all the hormones we have already discussed. Okay. But the thing is, where the location of the where you are getting this such type of cells, the G cells, the D cells, the G cell for gastrin, G for gastrin. Okay, so these cells are the endocrine cells. They are located in the gastric glands. You are getting in the gastric glands. So these are all about the cell types present in a gastric glands. Okay, first one. You just tell me one by one. First one is First
Surface
one is
epithelial cell.
which is yes,
Surface
which is
epithelial
epithelial. Very good. Then second one is
Mucous neck.
Mucous
third one is
Parietal cells.
auxentic या parietal cells. Auxentic या parietal cells. Very good. Fourth one is
Enterochromaffin
yes, enterochromaffin like cell. Then fifth one is
Chief cells or
cells or नहीं parietal cell no, not parietal cells or peptic cells. Parietal cells is auxentic cells. Okay, chief cells, other name of chief cell is peptic, PEPTIC, peptic cells. And besides this, also having two endocrine cells, that is your D cells. Yes, very good. Now you just see what are the different types of substances secreted from this cell. That is, D cells are the somatostatin, G cell they are secreting the gastrin, chip cell or the peptic cell they are secreting the pepsinogens. Okay, देखो, just see in the substances secreted from this chip cell they have mentioned that pepsinogen, not the pepsin. Why it has been mentioned so? Because the pepsinogens, yes, they are present in their inactive form. Very good. What will happen if they will be present in the active form? What will happen if they will be present in the active form?
digest the gastric gland itself.
the lining of the gastric gland.
Yes,
It's the gastric mucosa.
it. No, I am asking about the.
They destroy the
Yes.
gastric mucosa.
Yes. No, means if it will be present in their active form. The active form is your pepsin and inactive form is your pepsinogen. Okay. So if the pepsin will be present as such in the chip cell, it is having the proteolytic action. It can causes the autolysis of the cells from which it has been produced. Okay, so which cell is producing the pepsinogen? The chief cells, yeah, the peptic cells producing the pepsinogen. As it is present in their inactive form, that should be maintained. The chief cell can be maintained properly inside a gastric gland. If this pepsinogen present in the form of active form, that is in the form of pepsin, it is having the autolysis. It causes the autolysis, means it causes the breakdown of the cells from which it is produced. Means chief cells can be destroyed. Clear? So that's why the form, it should be secreted from the cell in the inactive form. Chief cells, they are mainly secreting the pepsinogen which are present in the inactive form. So when it will be get activated, now in the presence of hydrochloric acid, yes, in the presence of this HCl, yeah, the hydrochloric acid acts as the catalyst and it will be causes the conversion of the pepsinogen to pepsin. Okay, now the pepsin is having the proteolytic activity. Okay, so pepsin, just write down, this is very, very important. The pepsinogen having the proteolytic activity showing their best pH of 1.8 to 3.55. 3.5. The pepsinogen, they are showing their best proteolytic activity at a pH range of 1.8 to 3.5. Okay. Thereafter, if the pH will be more than 5, then this proteolytic activity will be completely lost. You will definitely get one MCQ, yeah, in the fill in the blanks in the exam. Okay. Again, I am telling the chief cells which is secreting the pepsinogen. This pepsinogens present in their inactive form. If it will be present in their active form, then that may causes the destruction of the cells from which it has been produced. That means the chief cells will be completely destroyed. Clear? So that's why for that particular reason, the pepsinogen present in the chief cell in the form of inactive form. So how it will be get converted? Now it will be get converted by the action of the hydrochloric acid. Okay. So in the presence of the hydrochloric acid, pepsinogen will be converted to pepsin. Clear? Now the pepsin can be showing the proteolytic activity. Pepsin का function क्या है? What is the function of the pepsin? Pepsin will be having proteolytic activity, means lytic means lysis, breakdown. Okay, so proteolytic means it will be helpful for the breakdown of the protein. So protein can be broken down to peptides or the peptones. Okay, so this pepsinogen, they are showing their best proteolytic activity at a pH range of 1.8 to 3.5. Above the pH 5, the proteolytic activity will be completely lost. Clear? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then you just see the surface epithelial cell, they are secreting the mucus. We have already also mentioned that this mucous snake cell, they also secreting the mucus. Clear? This mucous snake cell, they also secreting mucus. The surface epithelial cells also secreting the mucus. So what is the difference between the surface epithelial cell? Yeah, SEC. Abbreviation is S, capital E, capital C. SEC for surface epithelial cell, M and C is for mucous snake cell. So what is the difference between both are secreting the mucus? But what is the difference between the mucous MNC and the SEC? The surface epithelial cell, they secreting the mucus which are actually visible type of mucus. So mucus are classified as one is your soluble mucus and another is your visible mucus. Clear? Mucus are, there are two types of gastric mucus, that is one is your soluble type of mucus, second one is your visible mucus. These visible mucus are secreted by which cell? Now, surface epithelial cell. So what is the significance of this mucus which is secreted from the surface epithelial cell? Now surface epithelial cell, they secrete the visible mucus. Along with this mucus, they also secrete the lot of bicarbonate ion. Clear? The surface epithelial cell, they are also secreting the lot of bicarbonate ions. Okay, so this bicarbonate ion along with this visible mucus make it alkaline in nature. Okay, so that's why it will be helpful for the formation of GMB, that is your gastric mucosal barrier. Again, I am telling, there are having two types of mucus. Gastric mucus are generally classified as two types. One is your soluble mucus, second one is your visible mucus. Surface epithelial cells, which are just exposed to the stomach of the lumen. They are always exposed to the stomach of the lumen, and this lumen contain the gastric juice, which is very rich in acid. So this acid can destroy the surface epithelial cell. Okay, to prevent this, what will happen? This epithelial cell, they are secreting the mucus, which is the visible type, that is generally visible mucus type. Along with this visible mucus, they also secrete the lot of bicarbonate ion. The surface epithelial cells, along with this mucus and the bicarbonate ion, they mainly act as the gastric mucosal barrier, so that it will prevent the corrosive activity of the hydrochloric acid, because it's always, these cells are always exposed to the lumen of the stomach, and which is having the gas. Lumen of the stomach acid, na? The gastric lumen, the lumen of the stomach, they contain the gastric juice, and the gastric juice are highly acidic, and this acid may destroy this cell. To prevent this, so they will form a barrier. Barrier means gastric mucosal barrier. So how it will be formed? Now it will secrete the mucus. Along with the mucus, they also secrete the lot of bicarbonate ions. Okay, so it will neutralize the effect of the hydrochloric acid. Did you get my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? Okay.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
what about the MNC also secrete, means mucous neck cells also secrete the mucus, but it is, means according to the researchers, they have suggested that the MNC, what happened? The MNC, they secrete the soluble type of mucus, and these MNC also act as a stem cells. Always remember, MNC, that is a mucous neck cells, they act as the stem cell. That means it will helpful for the regeneration of these epithelial cells. Clear? Mucous neck cell का function क्या है? MNC, that will secrete the mucus like that of the surface epithelial cell, but it also helpful when this will be secreted through the gastric pit. When it enters the means to the lumen of the stomach, this MNC, they act as the stem cells, means it will be helpful for the regeneration of the epithelial cell. What we have discussed, the lumen of the stomach, they contain the juice having the rich in acidic content, and this acid content may destroy the epithelial cells because it is continuously exposed to the gastric juice. So it may destroy the epithelial cells. So it can be prevented by the formation of gastric mucosal barrier. Second one, this MNC, which is stem cells. Stem cell का function क्या है? What are the function of the stem cells? Having the regeneration capacity. So MNC here, the cell present in the neck region of a gastric gland, they are acting as a stem cells, and they will be helpful for the regeneration of the epithelial cells. Every time in the cells which are exposed to the gastric lumen, that may be destroyed. Okay, so to prevent this, to repair this MNC are requiring the secretion of the mucus, means act as stem cells. Clear? Besides this, the parietal cells, I am audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir.
Okay. Besides this, they are also having the parietal cells. The parietal cells, as you know, the oxantic cells and the parietal cells, they are required for the secretion of the hydrochloric acid. The gastric juice, which is very highly acidic content, having the highly acid, they are secreted from the oxantic cell. Which cell? Now, oxantic cell. These oxantic cells are present in the gastric glands. Okay. And what's about the enterochromaffin-like cell? These enterochromaffin-like cells are present nearer to the oxantic cell. Why they are present nearer to the oxantic cell? This will be discussed in the mechanism of secretion of the hydrochloric acid, the regulation of the secretion of the hydrochloric acid. Okay. So if you say that glands are classified into two types. According to Guyton Hall, they have classified the glands as oxantic glands, and second one is your pylori glands. Clear? So, as the name indicates, the oxantic glands, they should be having, it is a structure of a gastric glands, means having both, all the cells, means SCC, MNC, oxantic, enterochromaffin-like cell, chip cell, D cell, G cell, etc., etc. But what if I will ask about the structure of a oxantic gland? Can you tell me? ऑक्जेंटिक ग्लैंड में क्या क्या सेल रहना चाहिए? अब बोलो. This picture showing the cells present in a gland. Now I am asking that a particular gland, that is your axanthic gland. This is a structure of a gastric gland. It may be the means having the all the cells, D cell, G cell, ECL, chief cells, all the cells are present. But whenever I am asking about the axanthic gland, then you have to specifically mention about the particular cells. Can you tell me? Axanthic gland is made.
Parietal cell, ECL.
Fetal cells.
How
Yes,
ECL
very
ECL?
good. Never forget, the cell means they should be having the gastric pits, they're having the lumen of the stomach, that means they're having the surface epithelial cell. Glands means they're having the SCC, they're having the MNC. Mucous cell should be there. Clear? Here is the difference is presence of parietal cells, and as we have earlier in the beginning of the class, I have discussed the parietal cells. Whenever you are getting the parietal cells in the gland, that means the ECL cells should be present nearer to the parietal cells. So never forget, surface epithelial cell, they should be having the MNC, they should be having the ECL cell, they should be having the your chief cells also. Okay. So axanthic glands, types of cell present in axanthic gland. Tell me one by one. Types of a gland, types of cells present in axanthic gland.
Surface epithelial
Surface
cell,
epithelial
mucous
cell.
cell, parietal cell, enterochromatin-like cell.
Very good. Yes, and chief cell.
Chief cell.
Chief cell also. Okay, chief cell also present there. But these endocrine cells are not present there. D cell and G cells are absent. Clear? Whenever I will discuss about the, suppose now I am asking that, tell me the cells present in the pylori gland. Now tell me the cells present in the pylori gland. This is also one gastric gland. That means it should have one by one. First, never forget that should be
Surface
having
epithelial
the, yes.
Surface epithelial cells.
Mucous
Mucous
cell.
cell.
Yes. Then parietal cell should be there?
No, ma'am.
No. No. Enterochromatin-like cells should be there?
No.
No.
Parietal cells absent mean enterochromatin cells like enterochromatin-like cells should be absent. Then chief cell present but very less in number. Chief cell present but very less in number. Now tell me, pylori gland means they should be having the, definitely having the G cells. They should be having G cell, and along with the G cell, they also having the D cells. Clear? Can you get my point?
Yes,
What is the difference between the axanthic gland and the pylori gland? This is the overall structure of a gastric gland having the number of cells. All the cells I have included in this gastric gland. But whenever I am asking about a particular gland, then you have to specifically mention about the cells. Clear? Clear? Are you all clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So next class we'll start with this gastric glands. Okay. Thank you all for attending the theory class. Stay at home. Stay safe. Okay. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ashutosh,
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Bye
you, ma'am.
bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ashutosh, send me the screenshot. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you all.